Beyond the pages of our times and the charts of our lands, Hydaelyn was yet a world forged by the cycle of ages, by wars and alliances, civilizations and calamities, heroes and villains, known only to us in the margins of lore. From desperate revolts against an empire of death, veiled plots between megalomaniac magi, impossible tales of survival amidst realms of ruin, and incredible odysseys across time and space. These are stories that will no longer remain untold. So I bid you join us as we cast our dice across the spinner's stand, for this day a new legend awaits. The seventh umbral era has descended over the realm. Only a few months have passed since the Battle of Cartano and the fall of Dalamud. The denizens of Eorzea are just now beginning to shake off the nigh catatonic days of an ethereal phenomenon they don't understand, to find that their own homeland is changed, unfamiliar, and effectively uncharted. On Vilbrand, the various settlements of Lenosha were evacuated back to the relative safety of Limsa, surrendering territories they had fought for centuries to hold. The Maelstrom has been decimated, and much of the Crimson Fleet sunk by the storms and debris of the Calamity. Desperate to reclaim their settlements and outposts before the Beastmen can, Admiral Merweb has compelled the privateer factions to assist, and once more reached out to a mercenary company that had served her well in years past. A partially reformed criminal trained in the sect of Shadow, a disgraced and jaded former soldier, and a famous goblin of fortune now embark on a journey that will shape the future of Limsa in the company of heroes.
Hello everyone! Hello and welcome to the pilot for Dungeons & Dravanians, a series of standalone one-shot adventures exploring key historical events in Eorzea and beyond in the canon of Final Fantasy XIV through the vehicle of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and the homebrew Final Fantasy XIV companion guide designed by Sorensen Asgard. If you have not played or are otherwise not entirely familiar with the rules of Dungeons & Dragons, don't worry about it. You're not alone. Everything will be as clear and approachable as we can make it. And if you are a Dungeons & Dragons fan, unfamiliar with the world of Final Fantasy XIV, you don't need to worry about that either. Enjoyment of this adventure, it'll benefit from some knowledge of Final Fantasy XIV lore, but I am confident that it will also stand just fine on its own. So, with that said, I will be your Dungeon Master, Ethys, and tonight I'm joined by our first of hopefully many special guest parties that will be leading the action. We have Mr. Happy, Sly AK Grey Fox, and Leek Wibble. I will allow our players to introduce themselves and their characters in a moment, but first, right at the top, I want to thank Tabletop Audio and Epidemic Sound for the music and ambience we'll be hearing, as well as Calico Arucado for a special surprise later in the evening, Leek herself for our incredible logo, my partner Talia for helping organize, keep me on track, and of course to Soren for designing this excellent homebrew, for which you can find links in the chat or in the description below. Okay, let's meet our cast. Haps, you are playing a Hyur Highlander, Path of Ralga monk named Alfur Storm. How did Alfur come to be in the company of heroes?
Well, he was a young child living on the streets, never really knew his parents, and at one point he was trained by a wandering monk that he attempted to steal from. And while with not getting too much into the minutia of that adventure, after his master died, he simply looked to help other people, coming from a place of, place of poverty, a place of always struggling himself. And that inevitably led him to the company of heroes, especially after the calamity had hit.
Okay. So you grew up on the streets of Uldar?
Yes.
Okay. And I think you still have something of a reputation that may or may not be earned for not being entirely scrupulous, maybe holding on to some of that criminality a little bit. perhaps?
Perhaps.
I suppose we'll see. Okay, cool. We also have Varan Miller, played by Sly, a Midlander Hyur soldier, a deliverance warrior on the path of deliverance, as it's described in the homebrew. How did Varan come to be with the Company of Heroes?
Well, after the Calamity, he was a part of the Knights of the Barracuda. And after the Calamity, he decided to kind of go AWOL and kind of do his own thing. He kind of took to training a little bit, and he was kind of tired of the from the corruption he saw in the Knights, and he kind of did his own thing, like vigilante style. And one day he happened upon a member of the Kraken's Arm who happened to be murdering women. Like he was doing the whole serial killer thing. And
in Limsa Lominsa? Wow. Okay.
And he long story short, he beheaded the dude. And he got thrown into jails by the Maelstrom.
Okay.
And Weeskate found him, kind of like you said, Nick Fury style, and it's like we could use this for good. So I'm reluctantly joining Weeskate.
Okay. Sorry, I just bumped up your volume there a little bit. So I think if it's okay with you, this is actually going to be your first sort of mission with the Company of Heroes. What I'm imagining is really just this last night. You've had Weeskate come to see you, and he's basically explained to you that Commodore Rayner still owes you a favor for some reason, and has basically decided to present you with the opportunity that since the Maelstrom is so undermanned at the moment, they really need like every able body on deck. There's absolutely no way that they can accept you back into what is now the Yellow Jackets, formerly the Knights of the Barracuda. But if you want to try and kind of work off your debt, as it were, you can basically help them through the Company of Heroes, working with the foreign levy underneath Weeskate. So you've been bumped down from being a captain of, what was it, the third levy?
Third levy.
Right, so you were the captain of the third levy of the first squadron in Gladian Bay.
Bay.
Yes, and you're now going to be a private of the Company of Heroes on your first expedition. Okay, cool. And finally, we have Leek Wibble playing Brayflox All Talks. How did Brayflox come to be with the Company of Heroes, Leek? I mean, we know a good bit about her background in lore and canon, but I think you can fill in some of the blanks for us and give us your spin on this character. I've been very excited to see it. What do you got for us?
Brayflox is fast soon joining the Company of Heroes as Shiny Brain hand grabber of Shiny Jump. Brayflox is also nifty quick at time tinker maker of fire booms.
Okay. Do we need a translation for that? Do you guys understand? You guys speak Gobby? Okay, cool. Brayflox, you have been with the Company of Heroes actually at the time that they were confronting Titan and Leviathan about 7 years ago, before the Calamity, I think. So you're actually quite a veteran. You've been around for a long time. You've seen a lot of things. And we're excited to have you on board to keep these two fresh-faced young Hyurs in check.
Indeed, Uplander is surely much grateful for Brayflox's present time. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. It's beautiful. Okay, so we are presently on board the flagship of the Kraken's Arms, the Misery. What's happened is we've just picked up Sly in Limsa Lominsa, You're sitting in there in your jail cell. Wisekate's come along and he said, look, you can either rot here or you can come along and help us try and rebuild Limsa and reclaim Lenosha. And he said, basically, there'll be someone along tonight to see you and escort you if you've decided to come with us. What happened between there and now being on the deck of the flagship of the Kraken's Arms, the crew of this man that you executed in ostensibly cold blood?
Well, when Weeskate gives me the whole spiel, I just look at him with a straight face and tell him, fuck it. There's nothing else better to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have been sailing for a couple of hours now. All you know is that you're on the way to Aleport because the company has basically been put under the command of the Foreign Levy to help reclaim Western Lenosha. Everyone had to evacuate during the calamity, and it's been a couple of months now, and the concern is that if we don't start pushing back and taking these settlements, then the kobolds will, the Sahuagin will, bandits will, maybe even the Garleans. We've seen, you know, a little bit of stirring from the 14th Legion trying to take the opportunity to consolidate land that will eventually, you know, become castrums, as we know. You guys don't, but we do. So that's basically the plan. What I want to know is what you guys have been doing as we set forth. The Misery is a ship that can hold like a couple of hundred people, probably. At the moment, it's working with a skeleton crew of Carviane over here, and he's got 3 crewmen and a boxman, because every good ship needs a boxman. And that is it. He's got a lot of supplies below deck, and they are running back and forth, very, very busy trying to you know, take stock and have everything organized and, you know, take care of all of the ship duties. But really, this would be kind of a job better for at least a dozen sailors that they're trying to handle really just with the 5 of them. So I'm wondering, are you guys helping out? Are you perhaps just below deck kind of getting ready for whatever's going to come next? How are you spending your time?
Varan is on the he's on the side of the deck, just peering out, minding his own business, not really giving a care for anyone around him.
Okay.
So he's just kind of peering out to the sea, just in reflection and thought.
Okay. All right.
I am just consoling my cat below deck because he does not like boats. Poor Aloha does not like the ocean.
Of course.
I don't have my actual Aloha, so this Paiso will have to do.
Of course, we should have mentioned. We should have mentioned. We have Aloha, Dwayne the Cat Johnson, along for the ride, who is Alpha's fat cat, I suppose. Dare I say?
Not with that HP value. He's not.
No, he's gonna totally carry this party.
He may well. How did you meet Aloha in this fiction?
I met him after the calamity. After returning back to Uldad. First place I returned, of course, you know, it's a lot of chaos going around. There's a lot of stray animals, and he just took to me. He was a little feisty at first. I got a few scratch marks on my legs from this little guy. But I mean, that's the closest I get to affection, because otherwise I'm not trying to talk to anyone else on this boat. They got their own crew.
Okay.
I'm hanging out. I'm gonna relax before everything kicks off.
So he's your one friend in the world, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Braveflox, you are the ranking member here, obviously, in the company, but you haven't been given any directions yet, other than basically to rendezvous with the Kraken's Arms, to get yourself on board and make sure that you get these 2 jabronis on board with you, and then basically meet Wisecate and the others in Aleport. So how would you like to be spending your time for this first leg of the journey?
Braveflox is a truth teller, and unfortunately Braveflox is making tummy rumbles on the underbelly of boat.
Okay.
So Braveflox is bum parked below the top deck.
Okay.
And
all right.
attempting to make busy deals with any Uplander that is around.
Okay, well, the crew doesn't really have time for busy deals with you, unfortunately. They are kind of steering clear of the three of you, and Brayflox and Alpha, you probably don't know why, but Varan definitely does know why this crew would be avoiding him. Considering, again, it has been maybe a couple of days since he butchered one of their crewmen, who was doing, horrible things. But, all the same, it was one of theirs. And you notice, Varan, that Hydaelyn is absolutely avoiding you. He is usually very rambunctious and hospitable. You've known him for a while. Now he won't even look at you. He just steers absolutely clear of you. Until I think at one point he feels like it's getting a little bit ridiculous, and perhaps he was hoping that you would kind of talk to him and try and smooth things over, or try and apologize or prostrate yourself in some way. But he sort of comes over to you very kind of awkwardly and clears his throat and says, Private Miller, I want to keep this professional. And listen, in a state of emergency such as we are, I'm compelled, under the terms of the Galadian Accord, to see supplies and contractors for the foreign levy, such as yourselves, safely and succinctly deployed to their temporary command post at Aleport. All I can say, Private Miller, is that your friendship with the Commodore has evidently continued to serve you quite well. Still, of all the former Barracuda captains, Wernzone is now Master of the Marauders Guild. Miss Riki, as you know, promoted to Commander, and you, well, you're here. And then he turns to Brayflox and says, Lady Alltalks, of course, you and your retainers are always welcome aboard the Misery. And he kind of gives Varan a sort of sideways glance as he goes to move off. Varan, what do you think of that? How do you feel about that?
He kind of ignores him.
Okay.
He hears everything he's saying. He hears everything Hydaelyn says, but it's just nothing of any importance. So he kind of ignores him. That even really react.
Okay. At this point, I'd like you all to roll me a d6.
Yeah, we got the 3D dice activated, right?
Yeah.
Let's see how bad I roll. Here we go.
It's a 2. That's okay.
1.
That's a 1.
Yes. I'll just get these rubbish ones out of the way, shall I?
Mike, and a 2. Okay. All right. Cool. So, as Hydaelyn goes to move off, you guys are all below deck, right? I think we established that.
No, I'm top deck.
Okay, you're top deck. All right. The other two are below deck. All right. So Alpha and Brayflox, you guys hear this enormous crash coming from the starboard side of the ship. and yeah, Varan will see what is happening here. Let's move you guys over. Actually, let me see if I can roll 20. Come on. Okay.
What was that crazy crash boom?
You hear a massive crash, and you see 3 iron-tipped bowsprits jutting into the upper side of the hull, and another ship has collided with you. And actually, you know what? You should all probably make a dexterity saving throw to see if you remain on your feet from this one.
Sure thing. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, just straight up and down dex throw. So each of you roll a d20.
+5.
For Alpha, it's +3, and for Varan, it is +2.
Oh, come on.
Because neither of you... Actually, no. Alpha has proficiency in dexterity saving throws. Okay, so that is going to be an 18, a 20, and what did Brave Flux get?
10.
Now look, this is how I see it, right? She's got lots of junk on her back.
Yep.
Lots of things strapped, like her center of balance isn't very good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you just fall over backwards under the weight of your gobby bag of many holdings.
Oh yes. It's a good thing I'm close to the ground already.
Okay, but the other two of you do remain on your feet. And I think what Varan is going to see is a harpoon fire from the deck of this ship which has just collided with you. And you are going to see about half a dozen pirates climbing along this rope and running along the bowsprit and jumping aboard. I don't think you are close enough to see their faces yet. I will get you guys to roll initiative.
There you go.
Which is a d20 plus your dex modifier.
11.
Okay,
Oh,
so that's 11 for Brave Flux.
I'm gonna bust out my real dice soon.
That is 17 for Sly.
All right.
And a 13 for Mike. First in the order is going to be Carviane. Carviane, let me see. This is our first round of combat. Carviane is going to... Actually, let me see how far away they are from him. They're about 60 feet away. Okay. Carviane is extremely concerned about his crew member right here, with half a dozen pirates that have just jumped right in front. So Carviane is going to move up here, I think, and he is going to fire his pistol 3 times at the nearest one of these invading pirates, which for him is going to be 3d20. And that will be a hit on 2 of them, 8 damage. And 16. Okay, so one of these guys is immediately dead. Carviane just runs up the steps, sprints up the steps, and just unloads his pistol right into this guy's chest, and he falls over backwards over the railing into the sea below without making a sound. This guy does not scream. He doesn't shout out. He doesn't even flinch. He just falls backwards. So that is Carviane's turn. And next up is going to be Varan.
All right, so Varan has 30 feet of movement. How do I do the line to see how much?
Okay, so on the left-hand side, you've got this little ruler here. And you can basically click on where you are and extend it out. Yeah, so you can run up besides Carviane there.
Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
I'll run up to Carviane. The next 30 feet of movement is the extra action, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, so you can either do that or you can fire with your pistol.
Oh, I can rage and then still move? Perfect, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll berserk.
Double check because I'm paranoid.
No, that's cool. Okay. So you are berserking. What does that look like?
He has his axe and like gripped with both hands, and he just Varan just lets out this guttural roar. It's not really to scare anyone or anything, but it's just he's just fucking furious.
Okay.
Friend, foe. I mean, he can't really tell, but he knows who to direct his axe at, but you can't get anything to him right now.
Okay.
So he's just gonna go make a mad dash 30 more feet.
So as you scream, you're standing right next to Carviane, and Carviane sort of like flinches a little bit as you just like pull out your axe and just yell at the sky with your veins popping out of your neck and just set off in a sprint past him, almost shoulder checking him as you go past. And he's like, whoa. He's not quite sure whether that's going to end up being turned against him, but away you go. Okay. All right, cool. Now, over here, these Sargon are actually going to act. It's going to move over this cannon. He's going to load this cannon. And his friend here is going to come help him. And they are going to aim the cannon. You probably can't see exactly where they're aiming it, but they are rotating the cannon to aim. And is he out of your vision? Let me see. Oh no, you guys can definitely see him. Yeah, at least Varan can definitely see him. So Varan, you see a larger albino Sargon up on the deck of this ship that is just kind of barking instructions at the other two in the sort of guttural language of the Sargons. Is he close enough to... Oh, well, that's bad news for you, isn't it? And he's actually going to chuck a spear at you. He's going to wind back, and he is going to throw a spear at a wide arc up over the rigging and seeing if he can... He's going to be taking this attack with disadvantage, but he's going to see if there is perhaps a way that he can hit you, since you're the only one in range. So we'll roll 2d20 and take the lower for disadvantage. 6 plus 3, that's a 9 to hit, and I don't think that's going to hit with your AC, is it?
No, it's not. My AC is 16, so no.
Okay.
It does not hit.
So this trident sails up above and lands a few feet beside you with a thunk and buries into the deck. Okay, it is now Alpha's turn.
All right, so I've got a speed of 40, so that's my move distance.
The stairs here and here.
Okay.
What you're standing on right now is the stairs like going beneath into the
so I go like out and around kind of in a sense. Yeah.
This is about 6 feet. You could probably jump that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
I'm gonna
and make me a quick acrobatics check just to see if you can basically make a standing 6-foot jump.
Standing 6 foot. Okay, what do I roll for that? For acrobatics check?
So you roll. I'm pretty sure you're proficient in acrobatics, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you roll dexterity plus your modifier plus your proficiency bonus.
Oh yeah, it's my dex modifier, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, no problem. You just kind of like do a half squat and just go hop, and then do a standing vertical jump of 6 feet up onto the deck, which I don't know if that's possible, but you did it anyway. And then you can run another 35 feet.
Let's take that.
Okay.
Moving right about there. All right, let's see. I'm going to throw a dagger.
Okay, at who?
At the closest, this guy who's pointing.
This guy?
Right
okay.
here. Yeah.
All right. Make an attack roll with +5 attack bonus for your dagger.
So it looks like 1d4 plus.
No, that's your damage. So you roll a d20.
Oh, okay, yeah.
+5 versus his armor class. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is a hit. So it's actually roll damage for me. So 1d4 plus 3. Okay, wow. All right. So you throw this dagger and it's actually like buries into the side of his neck. And again, he doesn't like shout out or really kind of flinch or respond in a way that you would perhaps expect someone to. Has just been hit in the side of the neck with a dagger. But he holds up a hand to it and makes this sort of like low kind of gurgling sound, like he's got a mouthful of water or soup or something. And you notice actually standing this close to him that this pirate and all the others that have boarded you have these strange blue face markings or tattoos or war paint or something. You're not really sure because Alpha, I don't think you would have seen anything like this before, not being long in the company of heroes and not being a Limsa native yourself. So, you see it, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything to you. That is Brayflox's turn now.
Okay, so Brayflox has to basically, was it this direction?
Yeah, I think you could probably get onto either these stairs here or these stairs here just far enough that you've got a line of sight.
I'm not too far away. I'd have to roll at disadvantage. Just double check so I don't accidentally shoot a friend. Haha.
Okay.
This is a bad guy. Yes. I'll try to shoot at disadvantage because the distance is greater than 40.
Okay.
I wanna shoot this bloke.
All right, yeah, sure. He's already got a dagger sticking out the side of his neck. Doesn't seem to perturb him as much as perhaps it should. Yeah, go ahead and make an attack roll with disadvantage.
Okay. Brayflox will unfurl her gobby musket from her backpack. Unfurling is not really the right description there, but you know. Okay.
No, that works.
Yeah. All right. So I need to roll 1d20, and I'll roll that twice because disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
Roll twice, right? Which is the highest number. So I got an. Okay, that works out. So
okay.
Yeah, if I
you definitely hit. If that's +5, you definitely hit. And Varan, I don't even know if you notice because you're raging out so hard, but you feel the displacement of air as this bullet just like whizzes over your shoulder, not a couple of inches from your face. Well, you better roll damage.
Okay, my damage is for the musket 1d12 plus 3. That's cool.
He is so dead. So do you want to describe how that happens?
Brayflox will shout,
"Time to spill your bladders, mean foes of Brayflox,"
and then she will just whip out the gun, as I said, and then just like take one step forward to brace herself, and then against the recoil of her musket, and then this shot will fire out and whiz past as you had described before, and then like cutting through the side of that person's neck.
Oh wow! Okay, so you effectively just decapitated him. All right,
with a musket. Whoa.
Yeah, with a musket. Cool, great. I mean, he already had a dagger in his throat, so you just kind of got the rest of it done, I suppose.
Blimey. Yeah, I guess so.
Outstanding. Okay, it is the crewman's turn. So I need to remember for next time, I made these tokens just like a little bit too big, like a little bit too much negative space around them. Okay, so this guy is going to move. He's going to try to move over to the other side of the deck because he's got this hulking big Rogaden staring him down. But this Rogaden with where he was, he is going to get an attack of opportunity as this guy moves. So we will roll. And he has, I believe, +5 to hit. Okay, that actually misses. So this little Lalafell manages to like duck beneath this axe swing as he scurries over to the other side of the deck, and he is going to turn and take a shot with his pistol at the big guy that was just swinging at him. And that is going to be, it's also going to miss. It's going to sort of zip wide. These other two crewmen, they're going to push up, and they are both going to take swings at this big guy. One of them is going to hit and is going to deal, they're going to hit him for 4 damage. And Boxman here, he is going to just kind of like shift his weight a little bit and kind of shuffle this box in his arms, and that's his turn. Now the Reavers are going to attack. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them here. Are all going to move up on one of the crewmen, and they are just going to go gangbusters on this guy. For 2 of them are going to hit, and they are going to deal a total of 12 damage, which is going to just cut down this poor Mikote here, as these guys all just kind of rush in and start. I really need to sort out these tokens. They all just rush in, and if I can select the right one, if I can select the right one, if I can just select the right one, if I could just select the right...
I call them nasty end makers. Boo.
Oh, okay. All right, let's start with the order again. So Carviane, I think, is going to want to move up and protect his crewman, and he is going to take 3 shots at this guy here. And just one of them is going to hit. The other 2 go wide, and he is going to hit for 5 damage. That is Varan's turn.
So Varan sees the Makote just get like slaughtered, and he's still in Berserk, but it makes it even worse. He lets out another guttural yell, and he moves up to the Rogaden right in front of him.
The big one. This guy is huge. This is probably the largest Rogaden you've ever seen. He's got to be nearly 8 feet tall.
Doesn't give a fuck.
All
Takes
right.
a swing.
Okay.
What do I roll for the hit?
Yeah, you've got +5 to hits. You can use Reckless Attack if you like, which will give you advantage, but it'll also give all attacks...
Also give them...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Advantage. Yeah.
Depends on how confident you feel in your ability to hit him. It also depends on how angry you are right now, I suppose.
I'm pretty fucking angry. Yeah, reckless.
Okay, you're going to take a reckless attack. All right, we'll roll 2d20. Okay, so you get a 17. Okay, +5. That's definitely a hit. Roll damage. You are going to be rolling... since you're berserking, you're going to be rolling 1d12 plus 5. Okay, for a total of 10 damage. Oof. Your axe buries like halfway into this guy's thigh, because that's about as high up as you can reach. And he kind of looks down at you and opens his mouth and makes this sort of awful kind of gurgling sound. And you can see his face again. He has these strange, like, blue sort of tattoos or face paint. You're not really sure. And his skin is, you thought he's just sort of sweating a lot, but it is like an unnatural amount of perspiration on this guy's skin. He is just absolutely drenched. And he just looks down at you and gurgles at you with this blank stare. Do you think you're capable of, do you think you're capable of doing any higher reasoning while you're berserking?
Kind of like Banner when he's like Intelligent Hulk.
All right, you know what? Roll me a history check.
Oh fuck.
Which for
history
you
is
intelligence, so it'll just be a d20 plus 1. Okay, you know that the company has fought pirates like this before. But you, in your state, you don't recall. You feel like you should know what's going on here, but you just don't care. You just want some blood. Okay, so I believe that is your turn. The Sargon over here are actually going to fire this cannon, and they are going to fire it. They're going to fire it at this crewman right here. Okay, so you give me a second here and let me find the stat block for the cannon. I know I've got it here. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh, jeez. All right. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so this guy here, I'm not even going to bother rolling for damage. This guy here just explodes. And where he was standing, there is a scorch mark and a pretty large crack in the deck. A lot of gore is kind of splashed around everywhere, which I'm not going to describe for you, unless someone else wants to describe it.
The dude's limbs were separated from his corpse. He was hit so hard.
Okay. All right. That's
poor
lovely.
Uplander went body boom.
All right, fine. If that's how we're going to do it. So one of his arms flies, and flies like off the side of the ship, but as it goes past, it just open hand slaps Alpha in the face.
Ugh.
And just keeps going and lands in the water with a plop. Okay, so that's the Sahagans. Alpha, it's actually your turn now. You've just been slapped in the face by a flying desiccated arm.
How difficult would it be for me to get onto the boat with the Sahagan?
You could definitely, yeah, you could definitely run along that bowsprit if you like. It's just a couple of feet like below the deck where it's split into the hull. But the pirates that boarded you, they did run along those, so you could do the same if you like.
Am I gonna have to do a jump check to go from the deck to the...
No, it's only a couple of feet. You can vault over it with your passive acrobatics. You could definitely just vault over that. I wouldn't make you make a check for that.
I'm just gonna be sitting there on their deck while they when they get their next turn.
Yeah, you probably can't. Yeah, can you move far enough to make an attack?
I guess it depends on how lenient you want to be with this.
No,
arrow.
that's fine. Yeah. That's fine. If you want, I'll say you can get into melee range.
As that's where that would put me.
Jesus, just goes for it. Okay.
Well, they're shooting cannons. I can't. If I don't take out the artillery, I'm just going to load another cannon, throw another spear.
Okay, so
I've got deflect missile for the dude with the spears. I can just hopefully take out one of these guys so they can't load and fire the cannon.
You know that deflect missile probably won't work with cannonballs. Just a heads up.
Yo, I'm on the thing, but the spear guy I'm okay with, but the cannonball it won't work with.
All right. So
the enthusiasm though.
So as you sprint along the bowsprit and vault over the railing, I guess, onto the front of this Reaver ship, the Sagan just like look at you incredulously, and one of them just sort of gurgles at you. He says, "We were expecting to have to come and get you. We did not think you were going to come to us." And as you kind of notice over here in the center of the deck, behind what you presume to be the captain, is a row of cages, approximately sort of human size, large enough to fit an adult Rogadin in. So they're honestly quite happy to see you into it.
I'm happy to see them too. I was getting bored.
Okay. Would you like to do something else? Would you like to make an attack?
I'd like to make an attack. So if I do an attack, I can do attack and then flurry of blows as a bonus action, correct?
Yes. You can also you can get into grease lightning.
Yeah, but I have to hit both strikes.
If you hit both strikes.
Flurry of blows. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna. Those are gonna be my two things. I'm gonna take my attack and then my bonus action will be flurry of blows.
Okay. Make an unarmed attack.
All right. So I just got to roll the d20 plus 5 for the hit, I'd assume. All right.
That is a hit.
All right. And then 1d4 plus 3 for the attack.
So you punch him, kick him for 5 damage. And you would like to use Flurry of Blows?
Yes.
Okay, that'll cost you 1 chi. You can make 2 extra attack rolls. So just roll.
So I'm going to do the 2d.
Yeah, just roll 2d20 and we'll calculate it.
All right. Cool.
Okay, so
well, that's a 9 and an 11.
Yeah, neither of those hit. So as you sprint up to him, you do one of those like jumping punches and just like clock him in the jaw. And he sort of like reels onto his back foot, and you come up with another 2 swings, and he manages to just narrowly dodge out of the way of each of them. Brayflux.
So glad I have planned destination. Okay, so I'm gonna move to the side of the boat. I think I can go to about 25 minutes.
Yeah, 25.
Next to this cannon.
That's fine. You can. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's gonna pull out a bomb.
Okay.
And
All right.
I could hit the boat. Good.
Okay.
All right, so she's gonna pull out a bomb, and she's gonna declare.
Brave Fox has a thinky plan and is using a firebomb on nasty water vessel of fish face.
Oh, jeez.
Also, Gobby friend, please do not quick smack this bomb.
Okay.
No quick smack.
No quick smack. Okay. Yeah. So she will use her bomb, which is 1d8 fire damage. I'm hoping this boat will catch fire. So
let's see. Make a roll against the boat, I guess.
Yeah.
Let me find.
So let's see. Bomb. So the boat has to make a dexterity saving throw against my tech safety DC, which is 13. Okay.
Okay, needs to make a 13. All right, fine.
Yeah.
The boat needs to make a dexterity saving throw. Okay.
Yes, that's right. I suppose so. Was it +5?
It does not.
I might roll. Okay, I definitely hit the boat.
You definitely hit the boat.
Okay.
So how much damage does the boat take?
Right here. So I'm also hoping to take out a cannon. So if you want to roll for that too.
Yes, you would have hit the cannon as well.
Okay. So I'll roll damage.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
Plus what?
That's it. It's just a straight 1d8 roll.
Okay, so you throw a bomb and there is kind of a burst of flame, but it's more like pyrotechnics than anything else. Because you do not meet the threshold for damaging any of the boat's components. You do put a little dent in the cannon, though. The cannon kind of goes dong as the bomb sort of explodes against it and dents the back end of the cannon.
Well, Brave Fox has 2 more!
And I end my turn.
Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. The crewmen are... Yeah, it's just the Lalafell left. Oh, jeez. Okay. Poor bloke. All right, he is going to take a shot at the one that is closest to him. And for him, that is going to be a... Okay, so that definitely hits 4 damage. So that guy had already taken a little bit. Okay, so he shoots this guy in the shoulder as this guy sort of advancing towards him and makes him kind of stumble backwards. And then going to move over to basically cover behind the mast, try and break line of sight. And call out to Carvier, Captain, there's so many of them. We should have come with more crewmen. This is looking really bad. Oh, geez. Okay, it's the Reaver's turn. We'll take the big one first. The big one, after you just swung into his leg, Varan, he is going to... You know what? He's actually going to make a reckless attack against you. Or actually, that would be redundant, wouldn't it? He's going to do it anyway. He's already going to have advantage against you, but he's going to make a reckless attack anyway because he is really not very happy. That is got... Oh, and he crits. And he crits. Now, as we discussed in session 0, the way we're going to handle crits is it deals max damage and then rolls again. So, okay, that could have been really bad. So, he is going to do 18 damage to you. He just brings his...
16 minus 2 for Berserk.
Oh, it's slashing. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because of Berserk. Yeah, you're quite right. Okay. So he's going to do 16 slashing damage to you as he brings his axe down after you've just buried yours into his leg. And basically you hop backwards, narrowly avoiding a kind of fatal blow across your chest as it just kind of like... the edge of it just slices down your sternum. Although you probably can't even feel it in the state you're in.
Can't feel it.
All right.
Can't feel it.
Oh.
And Carvier is actually going to just step up just a little bit here because he notices a couple of these pirates are already a little bit injured. He's going to take one shot against the one that his Lalafell crewmate just hit. And that is going to hit, and even with minimum damage, that is going to kill him. So he plugs this guy once again, and he collapses without a noise, just falls to the deck. And then he is going to take 2 shots at the one next to him. One of those will hit, and that will actually kill him as well, which brings it back to Varan.
All right, so after taking that swing, taking the hit, he's probably even madder, and he just heaves the axe and he's like, ah! And he'll roll.
Okay, roll an attack, and that's a whiff. It's absolutely a whiff. Okay. Do you want to?
Wait,
do you want a
I
reckless
still have
attack?
advantage. Yes.
Are you using reckless attack again?
I am using reckless attack.
Okay, go ahead. Roll again. Okay, that one will hit. So you roll a d12 plus 5 damage.
Nice.
Ooh, 14 damage. Okay. This guy, he is still on his feet. I think you're going to sort of backhand your axe and swing around at the other leg. You're sort of trying to bring him down like a tree because he's about the size of one. His legs are starting to sort of like buckle and give way a little bit. And he glares down at you and says, and that's your turn.
That's my turn.
That's your turn. Okay.
These rolls are not great.
Alpha.
They're not great.
Alpha, you are...
Let the Sahagins go next.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The Sahagins do go next. You're quite right. Well, you are going to be taking 2 spear attacks and 2 bites. So we'll roll the spears first. They both stab towards you at the same time. And that's definitely +3. So that's 10. That will miss against your AC. And the other one is 13.
Told you I'd dodge them all.
All right. They both miss with their spears. You do a little flourish, a little pirouette, and dodge away from their spears. And they are going to make a bite attack against you. They're both actually now just going to like launch themselves straight at you, frustrated by your quick-footed antics. And those are both going to hit.
Those are indeed both going to hit.
You are going to take 6 points of piercing damage as one of them chomps down on your arm and another one kind of gets you in the shoulder. And they're both kind of like hanging off you for a moment as you try and kind of shake your arm free. Okay, now it's your turn.
I think I need to punch the same guy in the face because I can't afford a I can't afford a check of running away for this.
The one that you already punched?
Yeah, the one I already punched.
Okay, cool.
Come on, we've had such bad luck so far. Okay, that hits.
That yes, that will hit.
Can I get something that's not so close to the number 12, please?
Okay, we'll see.
All right. So let's see. That's gonna do the 1d4 plus 3. Please, I need a big hit here. I need a big hit. Wow, that's as big a hit as I'm gonna get. 7.
Are you going to roll? So you can either use flyer blows to go for 2 hits with another chi point, or you can just punch him again.
I got a flurry of blows. I got to take care of this.
Okay, roll 2 more attacks.
All right, let's see. Come on, give me some. Come on, rolls.
Well, one of them hits.
Yeah, but I need greased lightning. I need greased lightning.
Okay, one of them hits.
I need to kill them.
Roll damage.
My greased lightning wails the monk character.
Okay.
Yeah, my greased lightning.
Isn't it?
Okay, this one is looking really, really bad.
Yeah, it is. Wolf's terrible.
As you lay into him twice more, he can barely stand at this point. Now, the Sargon captain over here, who was holding his attack, is now actually going to throw another spear at you.
We get so many turns. It's 5 turns.
There's so many of them.
Oh,
and that is going to hit you. And it is going to hit you for... Oh, that's not too bad. Okay.
It's not too bad. I'm not doing great.
That's fine. It hits you for 2 damage. If you want to use your reaction, you can catch that spear with that damage.
Okay, yeah.
Do it.
So for my reaction, I'm
catch the missile with a small to hold in one hand. It is okay. It's small to hold in one hand for sure. Okay, you don't have to roll this because it was only going to do 2 damage. So even with minimum, you'll be fine. But you catch it, and you can now you can spend, if you want, you can use 1 chi point to make a ranged attack with it.
Can I make the range? Do I have to throw it back at the same person if I make the ranged attack?
Nope. But if you're making a ranged attack against someone within 5 feet, you will have to make it with... sorry, if someone is within 5 feet of you, you have disadvantage. So you can throw it at whoever you want, but you will have disadvantage since you're boxed in.
I kind of want to kill this guy, but I don't think it's worth the risk.
I'm not going to tell you what to do, but rule of cool here, you should take a shot at it. I'm going to put some peer pressure on you. You should do it.
Rule of cool. All right, rule of cool it is then. All right, what am I rolling here?
Roll 2d20, and it is going to be, I believe, a +5 to hit.
All right, so we'll just +5 each of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Yeah, now I couldn't get that when I was doing flurry of blows twice in a row. That's
a hit. Are you going for the one closest to you?
Yeah, the one that's lowest on health.
Okay, roll me a d6 +3.
There it is.
That's enough. That is actually enough. So as this Sargon throws this spear at you, you spin around, you catch it out of midair, and in the same movement, you just cast it straight into this closest Sargon's throat, and he goes down. See, rule of cool, baby.
Oh, well, that's 1 down, at the very least.
Okay, sorry, now it's Brayflox's turn.
Okay, well, still watching the tit for tat on the opposite deck there, going, oh, Gobby friend is pretty cool, and the quickie feed, nice. Yeah, and then they will also just pull out another bomb and go, right, Uplander, watch this, and attempt to also enact the rule of cool and throw the bomb again. So this is her second one.
I hope this one works.
Buddy, you had. I'm not sure. I will try. All right, was it 1d20 +5? Yep. Go. Don't land in the sea. Don't land in the sea. Don't. Fuck.
That is a critical failure. Okay. Your bomb lands in the sea.
I'm having a time over here.
Okay, cool. Would you like to do anything else with your turn, Brayflox?
Flux is just gonna stare at the rippling pool down below and sigh heavily.
So cool, so cool. All right. Boxman is going to shuffle on the spot and just like adjust his weight so he can hold the box a little bit better. And the Lalafell crewman is going to come around the other side of the mast behind Carviane here and is going to take a shot at one of the remaining Reavers, which will hit and is going to deal... Okay, not bad. 5 damage. Okay, cool. Now it is the Reavers' turn again. And they are all going to move forward. One of them is going to take a swing at Carviane. One of them is going to take a swing at Varan. So I'll roll both of those. The first one will be for Carviane. And they will both miss. Okay. Now, it's the big boy's turn, and he is going to... I think he's still going to be reckless, even though I think he would have advantage against you anyway. He's not too bright, so he's going to continue just kind of going at you with everything that he has got. Slime. And he whiffs it. So, he kind of tries to do the same move on you twice, tries to come down your chest again, and this time you're just a little bit faster. You manage to skip back out of the way. So, there you go. All right, it's top of the order. Carviane is going to make 3 axe attacks against this guy. 2 of them are going to hit, and that is going to do... Wow, okay, and he just, like, basically just cuts that guy in half, and he's donezo's. Varan, it's your turn.
Still in Berserk, Varan's still just not giving a fuck. Like, open wound on his chest and everything. Still going for the big guy.
Okay.
So...
yeah, that'll definitely hit. So you don't need to be reckless if you don't want to. Okay, cool.
No.
All right, roll damage. D12 plus 5. Okay, you get a really solid hit against him. Let me just work this out.
Nice.
Okay, he's not looking good. He is not looking good. He's got several deep wounds in him. But you notice he's not kind of bleeding very much from them. Mm-hmm. His blood is kind of very sort of like slow and congealed. And again, he doesn't seem to be in pain. He just sort of regards you very coldly with this kind of dead stare. Okay. Is that your turn?
That's my turn.
Okay. Oh dear. The saga.
If you guys make it out of this, make sure someone takes care of my cat. All right. Any of you.
Okay.
Box guy.
Box guy, yes.
The Sargon.
Cats love boxes.
The Sargon captain is going to hiss at his one remaining crewmate. This was supposed to be an easy score. This is more than we can chew. And he's going to pull down hard on the wheel and start trying to steer the ship to starboard. And both ships will sort of kind of creak and shudder heavily as the bowsprits kind of scrape against the gouges that they've made in the hull of the Misery. Not enough that I think anyone's necessarily going to lose their footing. Okay. So this Sargon is going to move up here, and he is going to try to... Okay, he's going to try to push you off. He's going to try to just push you over the railing. So I want you to make a contested strength check for you, your strength +3. So it's just going to be... Yeah, we'll make it athletics. Okay, so you can roll a d20 +5. And this guy is going to roll.
Don't do this to me, Sahagan. Okay. That's much better.
He fails to push you overboard, but the Reaver ship does continue to kind of scrape along, and you can tell that you've probably got about 10 seconds before this ship is moving off, and you're going to have to swim. So that is the Sargon's turn, which means that it's your turn.
Yeah, I'm going to get off this ship.
Okay.
Let's see. I'd like to follow along this middle one, the middle part, and get right about there. So it's about 33 feet.
Okay,
approximately.
Cool. All right.
Get up on the other side of this guy.
Okay. Now, since you're moving out of a attack range from this Sargon, he is going to get an attack of opportunity. So we'll roll that. Yeah, he'll take a swing at you with his spear as you move off. And that is a crit. So,
Right.
Well, can't you use, if you're using your movement to move,
Mhm.
you could use your action to
To dodge.
disengage.
to disengage, you could, if you don't want to attack, you could use your action
Yeah.
to disengage. Which
Yeah,
means you
I'm
won't
gonna
provoke
do that
opportunity.
because I will.
Yeah, I would've
decent
liked-
chance I die if I don't.
Okay. All right, cool. I usually would have asked you to declare that before you moved, but again, we're just learning the
Given the
rules here.
circumstance.
yeah. Given the circumstances, I'll be gentle. I don't want to necessarily skewer you right away. Okay, cool. So you move off, and that is going to be your action as well. So that is your turn, unless you have anything that you want to do with a bonus action.
I can't. I'm out of chi.
Okay. Brayflux.
Where is the Sahagan ship at the moment? Is it moved? As the position of the Sahagan moved?
No. We'll say, for the sake of simplicity, it hasn't moved, but next turn it will be.
Okay, let me figure stuff out then. My brain's going. Thinky plans are forming. The Brave Fox will trotter across the deck to try to keep up with the ship,
Okay.
and then we'll actually just aim the musket instead because there's only one bomb left, and they haven't had much luck so far.
No, they haven't.
So straight up just trying to shoot the bugger. All right, d20 plus 5 to hit.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit. So
Alright,
you're firing at this
we're-
Sargon here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
This one certainly. And then the damage would be 1d8 plus 1d12 plus 3.
Mhm.
So let me roll that. I'm gonna hold my breath. Okay.
Okay, 11 damage. Yeah, you hit this Sargon square in the chest, and he kind of like reels backward and just hisses at you furiously.
And Brave Fox will hiss back.
It is the crewman's turn. They are going to make another pistol shot. Okay, and that goes wide. And finally, it is the Reavers. I think they're just going to keep wailing on Varan, actually, as a matter of fact. So, Varan, you're going to be taking an attack from the slightly smaller Reaver here.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be a 15 plus 3 to hit.
It hits.
I would imagine so. And that is going to do... he slices into you for 7 damage.
So 5.
5, yeah, because
Right.
that's slashing damage. Okay, cool. And the big one, the Berserker, is going to do the same. And that is going to be a plus 5 to hit, so that'll be 18.
Yep.
And he is going to hit you for minus 2 is 10. How you feeling?
He's not feeling great. I know what I'll do.
In a lot of pain, but you can't feel it right now.
All right. Okay. Cool. Good. Okay, that is back to the top.
Adrenaline.
Oh man, no, I can see. Oh jeez. Okay, we're back to the top of the order. So Carviane, if I can just target him among all these other bloody tokens here. Come on. All right, yeah, he's going to move up to the smaller one, and he is going to make 3 quick axe slashes against him. 2 of those are going to hit. 19 damage. Okay, so this Reaver absolutely goes down as well. Carviane has lost almost his whole crew, and although you know he has not been trained in the warrior path of deliverance, you would swear in this moment that he is channeling the inner beast just as much as you are, Sly. He is furious. He's got just tears flying out behind him as he's got his gritted teeth growling through them and just plowing through these serpent reavers. And it is now your turn, Varan.
So Varan, like, pretty much on death's door, but you wouldn't know. You could tell visually looking at him, looking at all the cuts and all the blood pouring from him, but he can't tell. It's almost like it's just another day and he's just still angry. So he again continues to slice at this lumbering road that's in front of him.
Mm-hmm. Roll an attack.
That'll be
Nice.
Yep, that hits.
okay. So
Yeah, it's not a crit. Sorry.
It's not a crit. Yeah.
It would be green if it was.
Mhm.
It's still really good.
Okay, I get it on 19 as well. I get crits on 19 as well.
Yeah, crit on a 19 or 20.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. Oh, yeah. Great weapons master. Nice.
All right, roll damage.
D12 plus 5.
D12 plus 5. Yep. 13 damage. Okay, this is going to be sufficient. So I want you to tell me how you finish this guy.
Okay. So what he does, like, it's not even really strategic. It's just natural for him. Like the cut he made on his thigh, he just takes his right leg and steps into it as hard as he can, and he brings him down to the point where the Rose head is at head level with Varan.
Mm-hmm.
So he just takes his axe and goes for the neck and takes his head off. And he's done.
He is absolutely done. Okay, well, with that, you see the Reaver ship. An unnatural fog sort of rolls in and covers the Reaver ship as they roll away into the night. The deck around you is just absolutely littered with bodies. And as the beast sort of leaves you, Sly, and all of these, Varan, I should say, and all of the pain of these wounds suddenly catches up with you. It's like you've been hit with every single one of these hits at once, and you just kind of fall to your knees. And Carvayain, as you sort of fall, he reaches out and he grabs your arm and helps you up. And he says, I can only imagine what you did to my man with the ferocity that you deal with these Reavers. I would have lost my whole crew if you hadn't put yourself in harm's way there. Private Miller, I'm sorry for the way that I spoke to you earlier. You must understand that it's a captain's prerogative to deal justice to his crew, and what you discovered, I did not know, and I could not have known, and I was ashamed. But I think we're even now.
Varan, as he gets up, he grabs the head and tosses it overboard. Oof. And he looks at Carvayain and kind of sort of like limping, trying to kind of limp away from him.
Mm.
He looks back at Carvayain and says, I need a bed in your hardest alcohol.
Okay. So you guys retire below deck whilst Carvayain and his one remaining crewman do their best to kind of clean up. And over the rest of the course of the night, the Kraken's arms aboard the Misery will limp their way into Aleport. I'm going to let you guys take a long rest, which means you get back all of your resources, all of your health, all of your chi. I think Brayflox gets an extra 3 bombs, so I will let you...
No, it always top. It doesn't say they carry over. I just get 3.
I think we decided that they would, if you want them to. Because you've got your gobby bag of holding.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not complaining. All right, yeah,
as long as you can throw them farther next time.
I will try my best.
I don't think you're going to be overpowered having a couple of extra bombs.
Oh no, I'm certainly not with my freaking rolls.
All right, so The next morning, you guys arrive.
Did we get any XP?
You did, but you don't have to worry about that. You're not gonna level up.
Damn.
You definitely did, and I can tell you guys at the end. But
Huzzah.
for now, don't stress about it. Okay, so you kind of limp into Aleport,
Top this up.
and as you sort of come around the coast, you notice a few things. This part of Vilbrand is nigh unrecognizable. Varan, you, I presume, were born on the island, basically lived here your whole life. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But you haven't been this far west since the Calamity. You've been more around kind of central and lower Lenosha, which have also had some pretty dramatic changes, but nothing quite like this. What used to be sort of rolling green verdant hills is just kind of blasted dirt and dust now. These small, stunted but fruitful copses of trees are just burnt to matchsticks. You notice Pharisirius in the distance with a huge spear of crystal sticking out of the top of it, and you can't remember ever having seen this lighthouse before. Carviane assures you that it's always been there, so you just assume it must have been, something wrong with your memory or whatever as a result of the Calamity. There's been weird things happening. And the islands that used to kind of jut out like between the coastline and the isles of Umbra, they're just gone. They're just completely gone, blasted away to nothing. And the high sort of cliff headland that used to protect Aleport is also just completely gone. Aleport used to be this protected little cove with kind of high cliffs on each side, and now it's not. The Maelstrom have evidently, started trying to repair and reestablish a port here, and there's sort of like half of a stone port with some kind of scaffolding extending out from it. It's very quiet. There's quite a lot of action. There's quite a few people down there, mostly Yellow Jackets and Maelstrom soldiers. A couple of people in civilian clothing that you assume must be fellow Company of Heroes members. But no one's talking to each other. Everyone is just kind of got their heads down and are just busy at work, moving backwards and forwards with various accoutrements. So you pull up with these 3 gouging great holes in the sides of the Misery, and you step down the gangplank, and you noticed standing on the dock around a box where they've got a map laid out. You see Weisskate, you see Commander Rashat Riki, and you see Peabolo, a Mikote member of the Company of Heroes, with whom you're probably all familiar, as she was also part of the Barracudas a long time ago. She's been with the Company of Heroes about 10 years now. But you notice the 3 of them together, and Weisskite looks up to you and he gives a sort of, very informal waving salute. And he says, Lieutenant Alltalks, Privates Miller and Storm, thank the Navigator you're all here. It's been a morning of concerning delays. What happened? He says, kind of glancing over the sorry state of Carvian's prized vessel.
Flanders and Brayflox had to engage in fighty tools.
In fighty tools with whom?
Pirates and Fish Face.
Fish Sargon? The Sargon attacked you.
And Brayflux will look to the other 2.
They were with a bunch of fucking reavers, and there was one big one. I halfway don't remember, but I cut off a dude's head.
I remember.
Oh,
We
you
barely
can
got
tell
out
me.
of there. We barely got out of there.
You're attacked by...
They slammed the boat into our boat.
Mm.
They jumped up on their deck, try and cut off their cannon fire, and they had these cages. And they said they were doing a quick... it was supposed to be a quick job. It was the last thing I heard them say before they fled. This mist came over the boat, and then they were gone. So they were there for the few crewmen that were there. They were almost happy to see us.
They were most sneakiest of end makers.
This is...
And
You want the
people
rest of-
stealers, forsooth.
You want the rest of the story? Look at the blood on the ship.
He looks over to Carviane, who's just like sitting kind of halfway up the gangplank, just like in shock. And Weisskate says, this seems impossible. We've barely gotten off our own feet. None of us could possibly have imagined that the beastmen could have rallied so quickly. This is very, very dire news. I'm sorry that we didn't send you with a larger contingency. We thought that a skeleton crew would be sufficient, given the large amount of supplies that Carviane was bringing in. I hope you're all right, and I hope you're feeling fit and ready, because, frankly, we don't have time for you to get settled. We have an extremely urgent task. Commander, and he looks at Rashat, perhaps you could best explain the situation. To which Rashat Riki sort of chirps up and says, yes, no time for pleasantries, I suppose. Well, as you know, we've only been out here for almost a month, and we've been encouraging the former settlement residents to wait until we can finish refortifying the region. But not everyone has been so patient. The Hearthstone foreman Ergamir and a handful of his fellow botanists, they set out a few weeks ago to reclaim their homes, I suppose. 2 days later, Ergamir was back, raving about some new mining deposits that the Calamity had unearthed. So basically, we sent him back with back to Hearthstone with whatever supplies and equipment we could spare and he could carry, mostly, a few shovels and pickaxes, before we could bring in a full survey team in the next week or so. We expected another update from him that never came, so we sent a scout from the second levy that was due to return yesterday, but we haven't heard back from her either. And frankly, we don't have enough manpower for a search party. We were actually just discussing how to proceed when you arrived. We were honestly expecting you here last night. Weisskate interjects here and says, well, the company began arriving just yesterday. We're already stretched very thin. I have Riol and Tia en route to Bronze Lake to assess the movements of the kobolds. Landanel and Curious Gorge, I think, are mapping whatever's left of the Isles of Umbra, determining whether we can make any ingress into Faris Sirius. There are more vessels due to deploy extra company squads here later today, but this silence from Hearthstone, along with the news that you have delivered us today, we were thinking kobolds, or maybe even Garleans, but if what you say about the Sargans mobilizing is true, then they may have claimed a position less than half a day away from us here. We need you to head out as soon as you can. You find out what's left of Hearthstone, what's happened, rendezvous with Ergamir, and if you can, please find this Yellow Jacket scout. We can't afford to lose any more good soldiers. So, you have your directions. What would you like to do? Is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to ask Weiskate or Rashat or Peebalo? Peebalo is just, she has a book and is basically taking notes. You notice that on the crate before them, they've got this map of what Vilbrand used to look like, and it is just covered with kind of markings and sketches, and they're trying to work out what on earth has kind of happened to the geography and the topology of this part of the island.
Just 3 of us?
I'm afraid that that's all we can spare right now. We have everyone else that has shown up so far is out on similar assignments. We're worried about the kobolds coming down from the mountain and pushing into Bronze Lake. So we have a few squadrons up there, and everyone that you see here, any kind of gestures around, these are not soldiers. And you notice there's a lot of carpenters, there's a lot of blacksmiths, presumably from Naldic and Vermelis, that are kind of working on, bits of scaffolding that are basically, trying to piece together some semblance of a defensible position here. You're all we have. Actually, come to think of it, Brayflox, you're a fantastic quartermaster and a pretty decent shot with the musket, but I know I promised you after the fight with Titan that I wouldn't send you into combat again like this, and I'm sorry that it seems like there may be a chance of that happening, so I have something I want to give you. And he hands you a small cloth package. It's about, no, it's not that small. You kind of hold in both arms. It's maybe a couple of feet long. A cloth package.
Yes, Brayflox sees, and Brayflox will happy take this package. What is it?
Okay. As you unwrap this package, you see something that you recognize because you actually first accrued this in your role as quartermaster for one of your fellow Company of Heroes members. It used to belong to Shamani Lamani before he lost both of his eyes in your fight against Titan several years ago. And it's a bronze sort of half breastplate piece with a couple of pauldrons. It's this sort of like copper bronze looking material, but it's very kind of light and hard and sturdy. And being Lalafell sized, it will kind of fit on you a little bit awkwardly, but I mean, it's up to you whether that bothers you so much. This is effectively an adamantite breastplate, which will give you an AC of 16, with no disadvantage to stealth checks and makes you immune to critical hits. And Weiskate says, Lamani obviously no longer has any use for this, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind it's going into your hands. So, use it well.
Is much greatly thankful for this.
Okay, he sort of nods sternly. As for the rest of you, I can not offer very much, unfortunately. Let me see what we do have.
Varan kind of halfway pissed off, like still hurting, halfway pissed off. Like really still not giving a fuck. Like is ready to go, and he kind of walks towards the door or the exit, and he says, "Don't want it, don't need it, go fuck yourself."
Okay, so as you walk down the pier, Varan's walking down the pier, sort of towards the hills, I guess, and you pass by a row of objects covered in like a sort of tarpaulin, a hempen tarpaulin, and you notice there are several cannons and other sort of like defensible kind of siege equipment that you imagine they're probably going to be trying to deploy around Aleport, as well as a chocobo stable.
I stop at the chocobo stable.
Okay.
I know I'm not doing this on foot.
I think Alpha was about to say something.
He doesn't speak for all of us. Any potions or salves or anything. If we're going to be traveling this light, I'd like to have a chance of coming back alive. And if you have any scraps for my cat, because he hasn't eaten the whole boat ride and he's looking at me in a way that tells me I'm next. So any little scrap would do.
You still have that cat.
Listen, that's my only friend in this entire endeavor. A goblin that can't throw bombs and a man who wants nothing to do with any of us. Not exactly going to be the next friends that I make.
You were wading through hordes of void scent in Uldar on the eve of the calamity with a cat.
He's still here?
I suppose he is. Wise Kate reaches into his belt and pulls out a little bit of jerky and kneels down to feed it to Aloha, who I imagine gobbles it up quite hungrily. And then he stands and he reaches into his belt again and he hands you a small package which has roll me a d4.
Ice is rolling. Brayflocks will mumble to themselves.
Well,
Okay.
Gobby friend of Brayflocks was going to gift the fluffy critter a gobby cheese, but no.
I don't know if Aloha would like gobby cheese. Okay, it has
Brayflox's fiery bombs are quite delightful.
it has 2 potions of healing.
That'll do.
Yeah. So these you can use an action to take these, and that will give you 2d4 plus 2 health. Now, Sly, Rashat, actually, as you kind of storm off, she kind of like jogs to catch up to you, and she kind of gently grabs you by the arm and says, Captain, Private Miller, the scout that we sent out, you should know she's she was one of yours. She was from the Third Levy, and I believe she was at Cartano with you under your command, Koroni Kuro. I just thought that you should know.
You couldn't have said this a few minutes earlier.
I was trying. You kind of, excuse me. You well, you behaved very much like I would expect you to be behaving right now. I understand the position that you're in. But you have to understand that we all heard what you did, and the man was evidently guilty, but I saw the room afterwards, and you frighten me now.
Are you more frightened by me or a murderous lunatic?
Well, I can only imagine what I would have done in that situation, I suppose. But I do hope you appreciate the opportunity to do some good work here.
Good or bad, it's just work. Now, is there anything else I need to know concerning the mission or anything related to me? Anything? Before
No, I suppose not. We still believe that Hearthstone is, approximately in the same direction and about 8 hours on foot. And I have no idea what you will find there. But those people, those settlers, they are not soldiers. They are botanists, and they could need help. So we need to have a team there as quickly as possible.
All right.
Okay.
So he kind of makes for the chocobo stable to get one. To get ready for a trip.
She like those chocobos are definitely not for you. They're definitely there for like emergency kind of deployment. And she almost speaks up and says something and then doesn't and walks back to Wise Kate and Pair Below, and Wise Kate goes to sort of speak up and Rashad just says it's fine. So you guys can have some chocobos. I would have made you roll for that, but that was some good role playing, so I'll let you have that. And you know what? I will actually give you an inspiration point as well, which means that you can basically roll advantage once on anything that you like.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, so do you guys want to take chocobos?
Yeah, might as well.
I'm already taking a chocobo.
All right.
How does a goblin ride a chocobo? Not a sight I'm too familiar with.
Brayflox is required
A small one.
a ladder step.
There are some appropriate sized chocobos. Yes.
Like the Lalafell sized chocobos.
The Belladine Janet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
that can't be comfortable for the goblin or the chocobo, as far as I'm concerned.
Brayflox requires a gobby stool.
There is a Belladine Janet just for Brayflox. And you guys can start if you like. I would give you kind of more opportunities to talk to people here and kind of RP around and all that kind of stuff. But as this is a one shot and we're a little bit pressed for time, I'm quite happy to just set out and keep pushing on if you guys are.
I don't think anyone's going to know who I am as well outside of the company of heroes.
Right.
Okay.
There aren't any like shops or anything we need to get anything from. So yeah.
No shops.
2 potions. You said no to them. So one for me and one for the goblin.
You do have 2 potions. I hope you've made a note of that because you may need them. Okay. All right.
The player only requires a toilet break. Just a moment.
All right. Okay, that's fine. Well, as you set off, Brayflox sort of lags behind for a minute to find some bushes as you guys kind of scout on ahead. Okay, would you guys like to take a break there? We can take a break there if you like.
It needs sprinkly release.
Okay. Well, as our heroes set off into the early morning, I would say sun, but it's very kind of gloomy and overcast. Every day has really been gloomy and overcast since the calamity. It's strange, but you kind of all feel like you haven't seen the sun since the previous astral era. So you guys set off, and we will all be back in about 5 or 10 minutes, everyone. So if you guys want to take a quick rest, then I would encourage you to do so. And we will see you shortly. Okay.
Aboard the Misery, our unlikely companions narrowly survived a vicious attack by a crew of enthralled serpent reavers, limping to land at Aleport, where they have discovered that a land once familiar, vibrant and cultivated, has been reduced to an uncharted frontier wasteland. With orders from the company and the Maelstrom, our party sallies forth uncertain of what they might find, but mindful that they may well be riding to their doom. Whatever doom awaits, we will discover next week in the Company of Heroes.